Welcome to Adventures in Photography. My name is Stanley Earl Conrad. This series of tutorials in Photoshop will demonstrate how to make good photographs into great photographs. This tutorial demonstrates a way to adjust the tonality of a background or the subject independently using a selection created from a mask. What I'm going to do is use a sharpening layer to create the mask. Using sharpening creates the most accurate mask I've found how to do. What we're going to do now is create a sharpening layer. If you have the action that I created using the other tutorial on sharpening, implement that now. Otherwise, here's what we're going to do. Go to a Control J, that'll duplicate the background layer. Go up to Filter, drop down to Sharpen, over and down to Unsharp Mask. Ensure that there's 500% in the amount, the radius is 1 pixel, and the threshold is 5 levels, and then click OK. Immediately go up to the Edit menu, drop down to Fade Unsharp Mask, go over to the Mode window, drop it down from Normal to Luminosity, and click OK. That establishes our sharpening layer. Sharpening using the Luminosity blend mode helps reduce halos often found around sharpened objects. Just a quick aside, I use a Wacom graphics tablet and its associated pen. I can change the brush size or zoom the image up or down in an instant. Using a tablet versus a mouse is like using a chainsaw versus a dull axe. Get a Wacom tablet and your workflow speed and accuracy will increase exponentially. The small 4x6 tablets are about $199. That is all you need. They have several programmable buttons on the tablet and one on the pen. I have my pen button programmed to be the hand tool. I can move around the image and work adjustments very quickly and efficiently. Once you use one of these, you will wonder how you are ever able to do anything without it. At this point, we've globally sharpened the entire image. What we want to do now is sharpen just the butterfly so we can create a mask from that, and then from that make a good selection. Alright, we're going to now go to the Layers palette and open it up. Make sure that the sharpening layer here is blued out or selected. Hold down the Alt key and drop down to the third icon from the left here, the mask icon. You have now created a black mask which will prevent any sharpening from showing through anywhere. Okay, now we want to press the D key on the keyboard to set the foreground and background colors to black and white. Press the X key to toggle between the foreground and background colors, making sure that white is set to the foreground color. Now go up and select the brush tool, make sure the opacity is 100% and make sure that you have a hard brush selected. Alright, well here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the brush tool and center it right on the edge of the wing of the butterfly and go all the way around just like this. And what we're going to end up doing is sharpening just the edge of the butterfly, whereas the rest of it will need to be taken care of in a later step. And it's a really slick little way I've got of doing that. And let me just get this done here. We'll go around here like this and along up here. Now I'll stop the recording and show you how to do this. Alright, let's take a look and see how our perimeter sharpening worked. Open up the Layers palette, hold down the Alt key on the keyboard and click the layer mask. This area right here has not been sharpened. Everything in black is unsharpened, and this just shows the perimeter that we sharpened. Now normally you'd have to take your brush and paint all this stuff in white, and that's somewhat tedious. So if you go over here to the paint bucket, bring it in here and click that, click there, and it's done. So your sharpening, at least the initial sharpening, is now finished. From here we go back up to the Layers palette, open it up, hold down the Alt key on the keyboard and click on the layer mask icon. Now we see the butterfly in its normal view. What we want to do is make the butterfly larger so we can see what we're doing here. Grab a brush tool, black for your foreground color, and a soft brush. Then we're going to do this. We're going to go around the perimeter at the outside edge of the perimeter just like this and around, and we'll do the entire butterfly, except I'm going to show you what it looks like in the after right now. Alright, it's finished. What you see here is all the white that's outside of the black line needs to be removed by switching over and making a black tool. And you just go around it, remove it, and you end up with a finished mask. So let's try a little bit of that right now. We'll just make it a little bit bigger. We'll go up here and we'll switch our foreground background tool to here, and we'll just get rid of this black, leaving just a nice mask. And it works like that. I'll show you what it looks like finished now. Okay, here is the final mask. Now let's go up to the Layers palette, right click on the mask icon, come down to Add Mask to Selection. Now you'll see the marching ants around the butterfly signifying a selection. Go up to the Select menu, drop down to Save Selection, and type in a file name such as Butterfly. And click OK. Alright, let's make some adjustments. The first thing we want to do is open up the Layers palette and then hold down the Alt button on the keyboard and click on the mask here. We're now looking at the normal view of the photograph. Now this file is a raw file with no adjustments having been done. So let's do some adjustments to the butterfly. Go over to the Adjustments panel, open that up, come over to this one right here, which is Levels, and click on that. Now we're going to darken the butterfly up a little bit, so just grab this mid-tone slider here and drag it to the right just a little bit. That's fine. Click on this arrow here and it will take us back to the normal palettes. Click on the Layers panel once again. Right click in the layer we just made, click on Layer Properties and type in Butterfly Darken. Click OK. This is going to help us keep track of the various layers and what they do. Now we need to go back over to the Select menu and reselect, and we're going to grab the Select menu again and click on Inverse. Now what this does is we're going to be working on the background only and not the butterfly. So grab an adjustment here. Let's make the color balance a little bit different. Click on this arrow here to get us back to the main palette. Here is the color balance icon. Click on that. Let's take away a little of the warmth of this background. See if we can make it look a little better with the butterfly. So just grab the blue and take it a little bit to the right and take the cyan a little bit to the left, and that looks pretty decent for now. Click on this arrow here, click on the Layers panel here, right click on Color Balance. Well, that's pretty much self-explanatory. We don't need to rename that one. What we'll do now is we're going to create a blur for the background. Alright, let's do it. Let's go to the Layers palette, select the background layer, do a Ctrl-J to duplicate the background layer, go to the Select menu and do a reselect. Everything is ready to go for the background. Now go up to the Filter menu, come down to Blur, over and down to Gaussian Blur. Now I've got this set up to 60 pixels, which is huge, but that's okay for now. What we'll do is click OK. Now we'll go up to the Layers palette. We ought to rename the background layer Blur, so click on Layer Properties and type in Blur. And that's okay. Now right click in the same spot and go to Blending Options. Now you can set it by using the opacity slider. You can go down to no blur at all or just a little bit of blur like that. Click OK. Now go to Select, click on Deselect, and it's done. The advantages of doing editing in this manner, besides the accuracy of having the foreground separated from the background, is the ability to do modifications to your original adjustments. You can double click on these little icons right here and you can change things completely or put them back the way they were. You can also go back to the same one, right click on that, click on Blending Options, and you now have a volume control slider that controls the strength of the adjustments you just made. Now this process may seem a little bit tedious, and for the first time it is, but once you get onto it, it's pretty straightforward. And for applications like this where you definitely want to separate a subject from its background, it's really a good way to go. Alright, here's another interesting thing you can do with the selection of the butterfly you just created. Let's say you've got a nice background here that's more color pleasing perhaps, or maybe a little less busy. You can copy the selection and paste the butterfly right into this. Watch this. There you go. Pretty interesting things you can do with all of this.